Meat Goat, Class 1, this is your 5-minute call. 5-minute call, Class 1. Exhibitors, if you haven't found your back tag yet, they're on the table at the west end of the show ring. You can pick them up there. We'll put a list out for booster and pre-booster showmanship. Your numbers are white. Please bring Class 1 meat goat to the gate. Class 1 to the gate. Welcome to the 2025 Chaves County 4-H and FFA Fair Meat Goat Show. Our judge today is Michael Simler, who is originally from Bayfield, Colorado, where he grew up on a diversified livestock operation that has been in his family since 1913. Michael grew up showing and livestock judging in 4-H before continuing his judging career at Northeastern Junior College and later, completing competing on the livestock, meats, and meat animal evaluation teams at Colorado State University. Michael then received a master's degree in animal breeding and genetics at Kansas State University. Michael, along with his wife Kaylee and daughter Sophie, now reside in Canyon, Texas, where Michael is an instructor of animal science as well as the livestock judging and meat animal evaluation team coach at West Texas A&M University. Please join me in welcoming him.
Well, good afternoon, and it's a real honor and a pleasure to get to sort here today at Chaves County. And we start off the day kind of these lightweight goats, and for me, I'm going to go ahead and start with this spot-shouldered wether. I think this young man, the blue shirt, does a nice job presenting this this young goat. I think you study that guy just coming at you, and he's opened up in terms of his chest floor. He's the roundest rib goat in here, and that correlates to him offering the most spread directly behind his shoulder. He's the biggest and squarest and most shapely out of his hip. And then once you get your hands on him, he's got a big fresh rack that's a good tight-hided, well-presented goat. You know, if you step off to the side and study him from that profile, there's some things that you want to change about him. I wish that guy was a little more elevated through his front one-third and stronger directly behind his shoulder, more elevated at the base of his tail. But I still think he patterns and positions himself well enough, especially when this young man gets him stuck like that. That's a good-looking goat that has just, for me, he quickly wins just in terms of muscularity and dimension. Nice job, young man. For me, the next one to come in, this young man, this blaze face goat, I think is the other one that just hits me from a muscularity standpoint the quickest. That's a stout-featured, stout forearm goat who's opened up. He's bold and robust through the center portion of his skeleton, and that correlates to him offering the second most spread up high. With that, he's a little shorter, more compact in terms of his build. That guy needs to be fixed from a structural standpoint. He's too upright in the angle of his shoulder, and he's pretty short and tight in terms of his hip and how he handles his hawk in motion. But just from a muscularity standpoint, that's where he needs to go up second. From that standpoint, the young man with this spot and hawk doe who comes in third, she has some advantages over that wether in two, just in terms of length and extension and flexibility in motion. I like the elegance that female has through her front one-third, how she's longer pattern, she's leveler in terms of her spine and you know, more extended through her hip. Problem is there just needs to be more goat there. She needs to be opened up in terms of her center body, would allow her to be a bigger over her rack and square at the base of her loin and have more shape going away. But still, that's a good long pattern goat who's got some spread up high. Nice job, young man. The young man with this lighter headed goat who comes out next, really like this female from the side in terms of her proportions. She's really long and thin necked. I got to commend this young man. She handles really good to the touch. He's done an excellent job with hide and hair. Just as you study that goat going away, that's where she needs to go third. She's too closed up underneath. She reads flatter in terms of her upper rib cage, and then just a nitpicker on her from the side. I wish she was more elevated in terms of her breastplate. For me, as we kind of sort through the rest of these young men who comes out here in the next spot, got some shape up. He kind of longer horn doe, just needs to have more muscularity, and I wish he could be corrected on the front end of her skeleton. The black-headed wether who comes out next, round in terms of his rib cage, there just needs to be more goat there. He's a little bit more forward in the angle of his blade, more pronounced about his chest. The young lady who comes out next, she does an excellent job in presenting that wether. Problem is we need to open him up from the ground up, bolden him in terms of his rib cage, offer more muscularity down the top side of his skeleton. The young man who rounds out the set with the light-headed goat does a phenomenal job in representing this animal. We just need more meat animal shape throughout to move that goat up. Let's give these exhibitors a nice round of applause. Congratulations.
Results for Class 1, first place, Lane Matthews, Shepherd's Flock, tag 4367. Second place, Cross Carpenter, Country Kids, tag 4348. Third place, Cross Carpenter, Country Kids, tag 4349. Fourth place, Trevor Hotland, Dexter FFA, tag 4332. Fifth place, Bronx Champion, Rustic Arrows, tag 3882. Sixth place, Kylan Thompson, Diamond H, tag 3893. Please bring Class 3 to the gate. Class 3.
As we get into this next class, we certainly turn up the heat, and the quality runs deep from top to bottom in this. But for me, there's 5 of these things that when they hit the gate really hit me just in terms of quality and look and presence, and I kept coming back to kind of these top 4 just in terms of things that really stand out. This young man with this paint-headed and kind of cape-shouldered doe, I mean, when he gets her stuck, you got to love the muscularity in that female, how opened and wide and square she is at the surface, her roundness of body, and then you get your hands on her, and she is just as big and massive up high as anything in here. If you want to change her, you maybe make her a little bit square at the back edge of her loin, but man, you step in behind her and she doesn't taper. She comes back wider and square to her pin set. She's immense in terms of the muscularity and shape she offers through her lower leg. And I think the thing that really separates these top 2 is when you get those goats out in motion. I think she's more petite and elegant through her front 1/3. She's a longer, thinner necked goat who sends it higher the top side of a shallower shoulder. And so she's able to take a longer and freer step off the front end of her skeleton. Just makes her more comfortable in motion. She too needs to be a little bit square, more flexible in her hock once you get her in motion, but to have that much mass and power and dimension and still present with that type of pattern, it's really hard to replicate. Nice job, young man. The young man here with this smut-nosed goat, man, that is a monster in terms of mass and power. She is big-footed, she is stout, coming at you. She's opened up in terms of her chest, a huge 4-armed goat that when you get your hands on her rack, you are extremely impressed. I mean, just how wide and spread and dimensional. She's easily the freshest, young man. You've done an excellent job there, just how much shape and dimension she is. She's square and true and upstanding and up at the edge of her loin. Very, very powerful goat. The problem is it's coming to the cost of a little bit of structural correctness. As we study that goat from the side, especially when she gets out here and makes the lap, she's shorter and thicker through her neck. She's more upright in the angle of her blade and knee. And then off the rear end of her skeleton, she's just a little tighter and more restricted through those rear 2. Young man, when you'd bring her out later, if you do showmanship, I'd probably trim down and just kind of blend those legs in a little bit. She's big enough footed. You don't have to make it stand out anymore. An exceptionally nice doe to go second. The young man who comes out here with this 3rd female, with this 3rd doe, kind of this belted, I would say, paint doe. Young man, if you'll bring her into prominence for me, I'd like to give her a credit. This one is a very interesting creature, not only because of her color pattern, just profile her there for me, okay? But just in terms of the good that she brings to the table. That is a wide-gauge, round-bodied goat who's big up high, really dimensional, and you study these things going away. She may be the biggest in her pin set and the widest going at the surface. The problem is she wants to deviate from that in her skeleton. You watch her directly going away. She wants to toe out at the surface because she's more upright in the angle of her blade. She's shorter and tighter in her hip and wants to bow out ever so slightly in her right hock. Just need to make that goat better in terms of flexibility to move on up, but still a very muscular goat that has a lot of tremendous quality. The young man who comes out in 4, we talked a little bit earlier. When this goat hit the class, I was like, man, I like that one quite a bit. And I think as you study him from the side, that's where he really captures your attention. He's really elegant and collected through his front 1/3. He's probably the best and soundest structured goat in here, who's so relaxed in the angle of his blade, level in terms of his spine. The problem is we need more shape. That goat needs to be rounder in his body shape, read with more true mass and dimension up high, and he just gets beat in terms of terminal merit. Young man, that's a very complete goat. Just need to make him more powerful all the way through. The young man who comes out next, kind of the same story here. A really sound, athletic goat. Just need to open him up at the ground. He's a little softer to the touch. Need to open him up and just give him some more explosions, especially as you study him through his pin width and down through his lower leg. Just need to give him more dimension and power to go up any higher. As we kind of work through the rest of these, the next young man in this kind of the pinstripe shirt, I would say. One that's got some good lean terminal shape. Just need to fix him on either end of his skeleton. Give him a bigger, broader shape directly behind his shoulder. The young lady who comes out next, big-footed goat who's bold in the middle portion of his rib. Same thing. Just need to make that doe wider and squarer up high. And then from the side, she needs to be more elevated in terms of her breastplate. The young lady's goat, whether who comes out next, long pattern goat who's trim and lean in terms of his composition. This may be one of the bigger footed, stouter featured ones. Just he needs to match that on the top side of his skeleton with more spread. The next 2 goats who come out, the young man and the young lady, really long pattern, extended type of goats, just need to read with more muscularity and dimension to move up. Let's give these exhibitors another nice round of applause. Thank you.
Please bring Class 3 to the ring. Class 3. Results for Class 2. First place, Caden Brink, Dexter FFA, tag 4364. Second place, Colton Hinson, Valley Rascals, tag 4372. Third place, Miles Ratton, Wiley Draw 4H, 3897. Fourth place, Lane Matthews, Shepherd's Flock, tag 4368. Fifth place, Caden Brink, Dexter FFA, tag 4365. Sixth place, Tough Champion, Rustic Arrows, tag 3884.
Just a courtesy for the barn, if you have a camper with an awning out, you might want to go secure it. The wind is getting up out there by the camper, so you might want to go secure your awning.
please bring Class 4 to the gate? Class 4 to the gate.
I took that as a sign. I better hurry up here a little bit. I was spending a little extra time. Big lightning strike. Just kidding, folks. I appreciate and I apologize for taking a little bit more time to kind of break these down. A good class with a lot of differences in terms of type and kind as you sift through these. And for me, I think that there's probably these top 5, 6 goats that come in here really hit me with some quality and muscularity. There's not one that is just kind of reaches out there and grabs you, and so you have to kind of resort back to the basics and just stick with the fundamentals and kind of study each one for an individual and see which one brings together the best kind. And for me, that's where I kind of land on these top pair. And for me, that black-headed wether, I think just in terms of the fundamentals of muscularity and true meat animal shape, he checks the boxes very hard there. I mean, that's a wide-gauged, round-bodied goat. You get your hands on him. He's impressive in the shape he handles over his rag. He's got the biggest, squarest loin, and then he offers a tremendous amount of shape through his lower leg. And you get him out in motion. That's still a sound-structured, square-built goat who's athletic. You know, if you want to nitpick on him, it's probably off the front end of that guy's skeleton. He's a little longer-bladed. He's a little thicker at the base of his neck, if you could extend him. And then also, if he just had a little bit bigger foot size and shape and a little extra feature, that's where he'd really separate himself. But if you just step back off of him and just kind of say, all right, what's he bring to the class, that one's a really complete goat that has a lot of tremendous quality and just checks on the boxes from a fundamental standpoint. That's why I'm going to go ahead and give him the nod the win. Nice job, young man. This young lady's goat, when that doe came in, she's the one that probably immediately captured my attention just in terms of how she presents herself, specifically out of the front end of her skeleton. That doe's really collected and elegant in terms of her front 1/3. Her neck comes probably the highest out of the shallowest shoulder. And then from there back, that's still a really round-bodied goat who's bold and dimensional on the top side of her skeleton, really big and square in terms of her hip. I think it's just you study her and just start comparing her back to that class winner. The question is there enough? You get off the front 3/4 or the rear 3/4, that doe just wants to come in a little bit at her knee. She's a little plainer in terms of her muscle pattern, and even in motion, I wish you could elevate her in terms of her hip, in terms of her pin set, and just have her move with a little more athleticism. I think she's plenty flexible, but just a little uncoordinated in how she steps off those rear two, if that makes sense. But still, a really nice, high-quality, good pattern goat to come second. Congratulations, young lady. If we'll bring kind of 3 and 4 out here, I think these goats are pretty similar in terms of their type and kind. This young man's kind of coarser-haired wether. Man, that is a goat that epitomizes muscularity and dimension. He's big forearm, he's round-caged, and with that, he's got a big, hard shape up high, and he's square in his loin, very powerful in terms of his hip. With that, though, he's a little straighter off both ends of his skeleton, pretty upright in the angle of his shoulder, straight in his knee and lower passions. Just need to make that guy more athletic when he gets in motion. I think the same can be kind of said for this darker-headed wether who comes out next. Maybe a longer, thinner pattern goat, a longer, cleaner pattern wether. But you just study that guy coming to you. He's a little narrower in terms of his chest. You need to expand him out through the lower and center portions of his forerib and give him more gas as he goes away. But still, I like his added length and extension, and that's where he beats the goat who comes out in 5. I just think as you study him, he's a little more collected through his front 1/3. The young man's light-headed wether who comes out, really like the shape and touch this one has. I mean, that's a big racked goat who's broad and dimensional over the top side of his skeleton. He's probably square at the edge of his loin than that goat precedes him. But just from a structural standpoint, that's where that one needs to be fixed. He's a little shorter and thicker necked. He's more upright in the angle of his shoulder, and he's pretty coarse in terms of his joint work. Wants to push his right hock to the edge of his framework as he gets in motion. And young man, if you'll head out, still a muscular dimensional project for this young man who come out next. This spot-topped wether that comes out, really like that one from the profile. That's a good, sound, structured goat who's athletic in terms of his build. It's just when he turns the corner and goes away, that one needs to be opened up through and through, more muscular down the top side of his skeleton, and just read with more true dimensional meat animal shape to move up any higher. We kind of sift through the rest of these goats, and I talked with each one of these young individuals about things we could change about their project. Young lady's got another sound structured goat who's got long pattern. Just need to open up, give him more muscularity all the way through. The young lady, this is kind of the lower end pair here for me. The young lady's goat just has some boldness of body and dimension. Need to lean her up, give her more true meat animal shape. Same with as we move down to the bottom pair of wethers. Just need to make these guys more muscular as they go out. But still, nice projects for these young individuals. Let's give them another nice round of applause as they exit the ring.
Class 3 results. First place, Easton Kane, Barn Buddies, tag 4344. Second place, Sterling Tibbs, Diamond H, tag 4353. Third place, Jeremiah Chirinko, Roswell Early College High School, FFA, tag 4342. Fourth place, Sterling Tibbs, Diamond H, tag 4354. Fifth place, Colton Hinson, Valley Rascals, tag 4373. Sixth place, Easton Kane, Barn Buddies, tag 4345. Please bring Class 4 to the ring.
we get into these heavier weight goats, and I want to commend these exhibitors. You know, the heavier these goats get, the harder it is to kind of keep these things at 12 o'clock and keep them fresh in terms of composition. And for me, that presents a couple challenges. This young doe who starts off the class, I think it's when she initially hit me, I'm like, yep, she's a muscular doe, good enough in terms of her build, and she didn't quite strike my attention. But, you know, the longer we kind of sit here and analyze and break through these things, you know, she offers more redeeming qualities and kind of fixes some things that I'd like to change about the 2 and 3 here that allows her to go ahead and start. You know, that's a wide gauge, round-bodied goat. You get your hands on her, man, she's fresh, she's hard handling, she's really square and good at the edge of her loin. You study her from the side, you know, that doe is elevated in terms of her breastplate, she's shallow shouldered. Do you think you could make her a little longer and thinner neck? Absolutely. Could you make her a little higher in terms of her tail set? Sure. But I still think as you get these goats out in motion, she's still adequate in terms of structural correctness and integrity. She's comfortable in terms of how she handles her feet and legs and still hits you with enough muscularity and true meat animal shape and offering a good pattern from the side in order for her to go ahead and get the nod. Congratulations, young man. This young man who comes out in second, buddy, you're doing a good job and fighting a good fight, and I really appreciate it. This paint-headed Weather, he does a tremendous job of getting this one posted, knowing what he needs to do. This is one that really captures your attention, I think, in terms of feature and just muscularity. Man, that's a big-footed Weather. He's really round in terms of his rib cage. He's big up high. He's stout in terms of his pin set. You get behind him. This is the one you really like from a three-quarter shot. He's big pin, lots of shape through his lower leg. It's just when I step back off to the side and watch him in motion, that's where I start to have some issues, okay? He's a little forward in the angle of his blade knee. He wants to break in behind his blade, and then he just reads a little more mature in terms of his lower one-third, and that just doesn't allow him to balance up quite as nice as that doe ahead of him. For me, that was the really tough decision in this class. You did an excellent job. Nice job, young man. Just in terms of muscularity, you are kind of drawn to this spot-headed Weather, okay? He's wide, he's stout, and he's really ripped up in terms of muscularity. I think this is by far the heaviest weight goat in this class. And when this young lady gets him stuck, you can really see that he's chock full of muscles. He's big-racked, he's big-loined. With that, though, he's just pretty coarse in terms of his structure. He's pretty open at the point of his blade. He's a little upright in the angle of his knee and lower pastured. And then for how much spread he has up high, I just wish he matched it better at the surface. That goat wants to taper it down at the surface. You get him in motion, he's a little frailer and just rounder in terms of his build. But in terms of muscularities, you do an excellent job, young lady. Young lady who comes out next, I like this goat when this lady has him in motion. I think just in terms of, you want to call it, that's probably the soundest structured, nicest pattern goat of the set. Problem is he turns the corner and goes away, there's just not enough of him. He gets flatter in terms of his rib cage. He's narrower up high, narrower to his pin set. Just need to give him more dimension and true muscularity all the way through in order to move up. Nice job, young lady. Keep it up, all right? Young man who comes out next, him and Jasper are having quite the fun, and they're fighting a good fight out here. Another one that's good pattern goat. He's got some shape up high. Just need to make him more dimensional all the way through in order to move him up. As we kind of sift back through the rest of these goats, I talked with each one of these individuals on some things. Need to make this Weather next a little more muscular. Same with the young lady in the pink shirt. And I want to commend the young lady in yellow really for her humility, okay? You know, I've been in your place a lot, and I appreciate just keeping at it and fighting the good fight all the way through, okay? Let's give those exhibitors a nice round of applause.
Class 4 results. First place, Miles Ratton, Wiley Draw 4H, tag 3898. Second place, Bronx Champion, Rustic Arrows, tag 3883. Third place, Cason Hopper, Shepherd's Flock, tag 3896. Fourth place, Scarlet Breedyke, Shepherd's Flock, tag 4369. Fifth place, Cross Carpenter, Country Kids, tag 4350. Sixth place, Trevor Hotland, Dexter FFA, tag 4334. Please bring Class 5 to the ring. Showmanship will follow the grand drive. As soon as we're done with pictures, we'll start with pre-booster. So this is your last call to sign up and be ready. Please bring your first and second place class winners to the gate. First and second place class winners to the gate.
So we get to the heavyweight division here of your goat show. I want to commend each and every one of these exhibitors as we've gone through for their patience with me, and also just an exceptional job with these livestock. And I think for me, this is kind of a fun class to get to sort through because you have different types and kinds, and it's a little more challenging as these goats get to heavier weight to keep the freshness in them, just to keep some true muscularity in these goats and still give them a good look from the side. And that's where, for me, this young lady does an exceptional job, and that's where that goat really captured my attention when he stepped in the ring. That is a square, athletic type of animal who's round in terms of his body shape. He's so bold, good and dimensional in terms of his top side of the spread. But more importantly, that one is so striking and built extremely well from the side. He is, chiseled through his front 1/3. He's right in the angle of his blade and knee, level and collect in terms of his top line. And for me, good livestock get better in motion, and that one certainly does that. And more importantly, is he the biggest backed one out here? Absolutely not. But I think he's still genuine and true in terms of his muscle shape. And young lady, I want to commend you. That one, his height is perfect. It is really fun to put your hands on him. He's soft, and he's got a good touch and tone to him. But, man, just that one's killer look from the side is what really captures your attention, and that's why he's going to go ahead and lead off the class. For me, give her a nice round of applause. That's a good goat. For me, this doe who comes out next, she really captivated my attention when she came in. You watch her going at a 3/4 view. She is a war horse. She is opened up at the ground. She's extremely round in terms of her rib shape. She offers a big, broad shape up high. She's powerful in terms of her hip. But just when you study her from the side, that's when you can be a little bit more, a little harder on her. She's a little shorter and thicker in terms of her neck. She's a little longer in terms of her blade. And you get her out in motion, and because she's set out so far on the edge of her corner, she wants to kind of paddle out the front end of her skeleton. She wants to push her rear skeleton, her rear hock to the edge of her framework as she goes away. But just in terms of true mass and dimension, and I don't know if you can build one that is that round in terms of their rib cage, I really have to commend her, and that's why she'll be second. For me, it's from this side profile where the young lady, this goat who has the dark pointed weather, that's where he has a really nice chance to play for second, because I love when that one gets stopped and presented. He's elegant through his front 1/3. He's really shallow in terms of his blade and sends his neck up high out the top side of it. And then he's so good in terms of how he patterns and wedges back to a good shape through his lower leg. It's just as you study these goats going away, that's where he probably has some disadvantages to either goat on either end of it, either side of him, because he needs to be opened up bolder in terms of his forerib. He needs to be broader up high and square at the edge of his loin. But I still think he has enough to get around this birthmark goat who comes out next. Tremendous job. You did a good job, young lady. I want to commend this young man with kind of this birthmark spot hawked goat, because I think just in terms of muscularity, if you're just going to say, yep, this is a terminal shape animal, this is the one you lend to, because he is big racked, he's square loin, he's hard handling, and you watch these things from a 3/4 view, and those of you sitting ringside, if you just step back and just, butt cut him, this is the goat you probably really are drawn to. He's big pinned, he's got a lot of shape through his lower leg, but the problem is just when you step to the side, this guy's a little shorter and thicker necked, he's a little coarser and more open at the front portion of his scapula, and then you get him out in motion, he's a little shorter in terms of his hip design and coarser in terms of how he handles his hock and lower joints. But good job, young man. That's a hard-handling, fresh-hided goat that's got a tremendous amount of meat animal shape. Good job. Young man with this striped goat, kind of the same thing. Muscular weather, hard handling, very dimensional. For me, he's just coarser and rounder in terms of his type and kind. He's a little more upright in the angle of his shoulder, rounder in terms of his hip. He wants to really get up under himself on his rear too. Young lady in the red shirt does a tremendous job presenting this goat. Like we talked about, as we discussed here in the ring, he's just a little bit too far past his prime. For how big a frame that goat has, he should have a lot more muscularity. Good hide and touch to him, just need a lot more goat to go all the way through. Young man who comes out next in his purple shirt, he's brought me some nice goats today. Same thing here, just need to give some more muscularity through that weather. Give him a little more shape, specifically as he goes away. He needs more pin width and more shape through his lower leg. Same can kind of be said for these two collared goats who come out next. These young people did a nice job. Just need to make those goats more muscular, breed with more true meat animal shape to move up higher. Let's give them a nice round of applause, and we'll move into your Grand Champion drive.
Class 5 results. First place, Crossland Matthews, Shepherd's Flock, tag 4366. Second place, Trevor Hotling, Dexter FFA, tag 4331. Third place, Sailor Tivis, Diamond H, tag 4352. Fourth place, Jeremiah Chirinko, Roswell Early College High School, FFA, tag 4343. Fifth place, Tough Champion, Rustic Arrows, tag 3885. Sixth place, Sterling Tivis, Diamond H, tag 4351. Please bring your first and second place class winners to the gate. Class 1, first place belongs to Lane Matthews. Second place, Cross Carpenter. Class 2, first place, Caden Brink. Second place, Colton Hinson. Class 3, first place, Easton Kane. Second place, Sterling Tivis. Class 4, first place, Miles Ratton. Second place, Bronx Champion. Class 5, first place, Crossland Matthews. Second place, Trevor Hotland.
If you would, folks, let's put your hands together for this champion drive of showman here. You know, as you look through these 10-headed goats, I think that you can see some similarities in terms of type and kind and just true muscularity. For me, you know, I was always trained that you find the muscular ones, sort them on balance and design. And with that, then you go and can sort some different things and find the ones that do those fundamental things and then go past it and have those extras. And so I want to thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to come out and work with your young people today. A tremendous set of goats to work through. And for me, this is a lot of fun, getting to give back to the program that started me. To those of you that didn't make the grand drive here, I've been in your shoes, folks. And I'll tell you, you just need to keep with it and stay tough. I'll tell you, I've been on the lower end of one of these classes a lot more than I was on the top end when I started. And that's what allowed me and kind of gave me the passion to get into livestock judging. And from there, you know, they always say that God puts things in your life that will change you, and it certainly has. And so I want to commend those young people, and also just, you know, the humility and also the grace of those guys that maybe didn't end up where they thought they did. Because, you know, ultimately, this world can be pretty rough. You know, we're in kind of some good times right now. It is amazing to see, you know, this part of the state of New Mexico, as Kelly Green as it is. Heck, I thought I was driving through Ireland today. But just, you know, even in the hard times, it's always important to remember the grace and goodness of what we get to do. You know, I've been blessed to see a lot of really good blessings in my life. And one of them is getting to work with you young folks here today. I'll tell you, you're going to go through a lot of things throughout your life. And I'll tell you a couple things, just from my knowledge that I wish somebody would have passed on to me earlier, is that you're special and that there is somebody that loves you no matter what you're going through in life. You know, there is somebody that loves you so much that he was willing to go up on the cross for you before he even ever knew you, before you were ever even a thought in your mother's eye. And we are blessed and saved by his grace that he got off that cross, and someday we get to be in his presence. And that's what it's all about. And so let's put your hands together, and I'll talk a little bit about these goats, but just remember that somebody loves you guys. I get the opportunity to work with a lot of young kids on the collegiate level. I'm blessed to get to work at West Texas A&M University and get to travel the country and see a lot of livestock and really enjoy the fact that I get to come out and sort through your goat show. And there's a tremendous set of quality as you sort through these things from Class 1 all the way down to 5. And I'll talk about just a couple of them for me and give you a little bit of insight. And we'll start down here. The young man who came out of Class 1, a really nice, high-quality wether that had some shape, just needed to fix that one in terms of how he handles the top side of his skeleton, make him leveler in terms of his hip. The young man who comes out of Class 2, that doe came against a really powerhouse that was in second. Really loved the tremendous body shape, how raw and muscular that female is, how dimensional she is on the top side of her skeleton. If you want to nitpick on her, it's probably from her blade forward. Just a little rocked forward and coarse and open at the top of it, a little shorter and thicker neck. But from there back, man, she's a power wagon. Extremely powerful goat. Black-headed wether who comes out next. Long pattern, muscular, just good fundamental type of meat goat. For me, maybe you want to clean him up through his front 1/3, elevate him in terms of his breastplate and smooth him on the front portion of his scapula, and also just give him a little more feature to match his type and kind. Young man who comes out in the blue shirt with that kind of darker-headed doe, a round-bodied, muscular goat who's got some dimension. Just need to clean her up off either end of her skeleton, just make her a little more youthful in terms of her front 1/3. And then the young lady in the purple shirt who comes out of the heavyweight division, that's the one that really captivates your attention from the side in terms of how fresh and presented that wether is, how he runs uphill. He's a wedge-made level design goat. For me, the question is he have enough shape and dimension up high? You make him a little bit square and more toned up out of the backside of his shoulder, a little fresher at the edge of his loin. But you get these things out in motion. For me, it's kind of a two-horse race, folks, and that's the young man out of Class 2 and the young lady out of Class 5. For me, I think both of those goats are muscular enough, and so I'm going to go ahead and use the better-looking one here and found this young lady's.
Grand Champion Meat Goat belongs to Crossland Matthews. Tag 4366. Reserve Grand Champion Meat Goat belongs to Caden Brink. Tag 4364.
We bring the seconds from each one of those respective classes up, and like I said in class, the young man in pink in the pink shirt, that doe that you've got is truly a freak in terms of muscularity. She is opened up, she's round-bodied, and she's almost sheep-like in terms of how big and broad she spans out of the backside of her shoulder and how massive she is at her loin. Question is she coarse? Is a little too coarse in terms of her build? Perhaps. Young man at the black-headed goat, really fundamental type and kind, just doesn't kind of hit you with that same pop and pizzazz. I'm going to go ahead and kind of handle through these top 5 again just to make my decision, and then I'll get you a third, 4, and 5.
Third overall belongs to Colton Hinson. Tag 4372. Fourth overall belongs to Easton Kane, tag 4344. Fifth overall belongs to Sterling Tivis, tag 4353. Pre-boosters, showmanship will begin as soon as they're done taking pictures, so please be ready. Booster showmanship. There are no pre-boosters signed up, so boosters, please be ready as soon as pictures are done. Booster and pre-booster showmanship to the gate, please. Booster and pre-booster showmanship to the gate. Novice, junior, and senior, there is no sign up for showmanship for you. You just need your back tag and come on when your class is called, okay? Novice showmanship to the gate. Novice showmanship to the gate, please. Novice showman, if your back tag should be green. If you don't have a green one on, you need to go get your green one off of the table. Novice should be green.
If you would, folks, please put your hands together for this nice set of booster and pre-booster showmen. You know, it's a lot of fun for me to get to work with this age group. I've got a young daughter who's going to turn a year next month, and to see that young little man, Mr. Valor, out of the pre-booster, who's 2 out here, it's a little exciting, but at the same time, it's a little nerve-wracking. I'm like, oh my gosh, there could be the opportunity for that. Only knowing my wife, we're going to be out here with a heifer or something. It's going to be a real fun and long work ethic. So anyways, we'll get past that. But these young people do an excellent job. It's fun to get to talk with them and kind of see their love and passion at this age. You know, just this young lady, Chesney, I believe is your name, right? She was telling me that she's like, yep, I like showing goats because I get to hold them and hug them, and they have a really soft hide. I'm like, heck yeah, I like that. The young lady down here, she's pretty fundamental. She's like, I like showing goats because there's the opportunity to make money. I'm like, can't reason with that economics. That's pretty sharp. And this young man, he says, my favorite part about them is because they walk easy. I said, what's your least favorite part? When they step on my toes, these darn things. So, you know, it's always, you know what they say, from the mouths of babes, right? And so it's a lot of fun to talk with these guys. Let's give these exhibitors another nice round of applause. We'll congratulate them as they exit the ring.
Thank you, Booster Showman. Novice, junior, senior. Okay. Novice showman to the show ring, please. Novice showman to the show ring, please. Junior showmanship to the gate, please. Juniors to the gate. Your tag should be blue.
Alrighty, folks, if you would, let's put a nice round of applause for these novice showmen. They did an exceptional job. The folks that the young exhibitors that exited, I talked to each one of them about some things that we could work on and change going forward, and I really appreciate their humility. They did a really nice job from that. I left these three out here in kind of prominence to look at them a little bit longer and decide. I know I was told that I've got to keep my mouth shut on which one's the champion today, so that's a little bit different of tactic for me, so I will abide by the rules and I won't divulge too much secrecy here, okay? But an exceptional trio of showmen that each have a little bit different style, and I think each one of them has a little bit different strength. The young man in the pink shirt, very intense, has really knows where the power, how wide and true he needs to get that goat. Maybe just paying a little bit more attention when we go to walk. That's something to work on for the future. The young man with the double stuff goat, that's her name, double stuff, right? Yes, okay. Very fitting name, I think, for that goat. Does a really nice job, just cool, calm, and collected. Just once in a while, you want to get a little scattered in terms of those front feet, so pay attention to that. And also just having a little bit more intensity, little eye of the tiger, okay? That'll kind of elevate you to the next level. Young lady does a nice job in terms of profiling that goat. For me, just watch, you need to have a little bit more intensity when we get him on the drive, okay? And remember, it's game on from when we first come in the ring, a little bit more eye contact. But all three of these do an exceptional job. I'll give the nice young Miss Karen the numbers for the champion reserve, and I wish you good luck on Thursday when you guys get the result. Let's give these exhibitors another nice round of applause as they exit the ring.
Junior showmen to the show ring, please. Juniors to the show ring. Senior showmanship to the gate, please. Seniors to the gate. Senior showman to the gate. Seniors to the gate, please. We're looking for a lost vehicle key. If you happen to see one, would you please bring it to the table?
Let's give these junior showmen a nice round of applause, folks. You know, I've gone and talked with each one of these young ladies about some things that we can do differently. And even though they're a smaller group, I think there's still some really good quality amongst them in terms of things that we can improve on and just getting better each and every day. So I went out and kind of selected in my mind which one's going to be your champion. Let's give these ladies another nice round of applause as they exit, and we'll get on to your senior side. let's give a nice round of applause for our seniors out here. I appreciate each and one of these young men, and I think each one of them does an exceptional job. We went and kind of talked about what each one of them could do to improve as we get on to that next level. And there's some little things that, you know, for me, the difference between mediocre and great are simple habits, right? You know, excellence is not just an act, but it is a daily habit. And so there's little things that, you know, people who do extraordinary things are just ordinary people that get up and push and get better each and every day. And so there's some things that I talked about with each one of these young men that I think if they change going for the future will keep inclining in terms of their growth progression. And I want to commend them for that. And ultimately, I wish each one of them good luck as they go down the road. I'll give Miss Karen the winner for this deal. And I want to say thank you, young gentlemen, for the opportunity to work with you and all the rest of the showmen that are back in the barn. It was a pleasure to get to come out to Chaves County and sort through your market goat show today. With that, if you're ever out in Canyon, Texas, we'd love to show you around. It's a good place to be, and we're always glad to have more buffs. So with that, let's give these exhibitors another nice round of applause. Thanks for having me again. God bless.